Today's going to be a blast because we're going to have fun that's out of this world.
It's no secret that I love public television, especially public television for kids. You get some wild, beautiful ideas when you're untethered from the need to make a profit, and some of the best and most beneficial children's shows have come from public TV. Sesame Street, Arthur, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Tones and Talismans. Still waiting on that DVD, Mississippi Public Broadcasting, if you're still watching. Public TV also throws a lot of spaghetti at the wall, for better or worse. They take big swings on people with strange, idiosyncratic visions. Sometimes you get horrifying, pseudo-faith-based weirdness like Mary Lou's Flip-Flop Shop, and sometimes you get wild out-of-the-park hits like Between the Lions. So what happens when you take the gentleness of Bob Ross's art instruction, the strangeness of Fraggle Rock's puppets and settings, and the CGI obsession of something like The Knock Knock Show? Well, you get Pappyland, the strangest, sweetest, and gentlest kids' public TV show of the 90s. So, are you ready to go to space with Pappy? Let's go!
Craftsman and Scribe's Creative Workshop presents Pappyland!
First off, fun to say, Pappyland. Makes you want to shout it about as loud as the disembodied theme song children, like we're in the intro to Wild and Crazy Kids. So right off the bat, we're swinging big with the CGI, but those puppets, the manic energy there is something else. From the shriveled face of the flower to the giant peering eyes of the bear, every single one of these creatures is hideous and beautiful in its own way. It's a perfect example of intensely polished craftsmanship going towards a bizarre vision. There's no rhyme or reason to the style. So, in order to properly take in the ludicrous menagerie before us, it's time for everybody's favorite part of Too Many Tapes, a segment I just made up called Puppet Roundup. It's the part of the show where we take a look at some puppets and give them a rating based on a proprietary and deeply confidential set of scientific criteria I definitely didn't just pull out of thin air in an effort to drag this video kicking and screaming across the 15-minute mark out of some sort of misplaced vanity. First off, we've got Buddy, a walk-around style Muppet that looks like somebody took the kind of teddy bear you can win in a claw game machine and blew him up to a size more closely resembling his deadly predator brethren. His shorts, tie-dye. His suspenders, hot pink. His bandana, jaunty as heck. His eyes, though, too wide. Kind of ominous. Not a fan. 6 out of 10. Next on the docket, Elmer. He's just a little guy, you know? Sits in a chair, big beard, grumpy all the time. Totally inconsistent design-wise with Buddy or anybody else. I like it. 9 out of 10. Chucky is, I'm assuming, a woodchuck or a beaver. He looks like he was purchased from one of those websites that sells puppets for educational shows, and he sounds exactly like the main character in Quigley's Village, so that's a mark against him. That being said, kinda cute. Like his face. 6 out of 10. On to Turtle Lou, who's a pretty weirdly realistic turtle with a little hat and beady eyes. Also, eyebrows for some reason. And he's Italian? What's the backstory there? Very strange. He's my underdog though, even if he's got too much going on. 8 out of 10. Mailbird has big Christian puppet show energy. I calls him how I sees him. 4 out of 10. Lily is straight up nightmare fuel. Not my favorite puppet. Her face is just too scrunchy, like Professor Chang trying to do the Renee Zellweger impression on Community.
Okay, I don't know who told you pouting was an option for you, but all you're making me feel right now is hatred of Renee Zellweger.
2 out of 10. Sorry, Lily. Belle's an old-timey telephone with a plant on her head that makes it look like hair. She doesn't get enough screen time because she's mounted to a wall in the corner. Justice for Belle. 8 out of 10. Binky is a talking paintbrush and gets more than his fair share of lines. Puppet-wise, he's the simplest of the bunch, literally just a talking stick, but he's cute and performed well. 7 out of 10. And finally, Doodlebug. Inspired puppeteering, inspired design. Very much in the wacky Henson model, and it's fun to watch the antenna swing back and forth and leave teeny tiny traces of the blue screen in their wake. The performance is halfway between Bean Bunny and Rizzo, for better or for worse, but still a great puppet. 9 out of 10. So that leaves us with an average of 6.5 out of 10, which I'm gonna up to a 7 because of the variety. Honestly, not too bad. Decent puppets all around, good showing. In terms of humans, Pappy Druid is our lead, and this title sequence follows our art instructor / old-timey prospector as he explores the various wonders of late 90s budget CGI and green screen effects with the help of his enormous red pencil.
Pappy Druid, he do Pappyland.
So Pappy is the master of this domain. He has created everything within Pappyland with the power of his imagination, and he's here to give children that same wild power. He skips through the forest to his extremely Mr. Rogers miniaturesque cabin, and we begin our program. Pappy's cabin is pretty low rent, but also charming. Pappy himself has odd energy, middle school art teacher energy, burnt out ex-hippie energy. Put more simply, public TV energy. Pappy's mission is all about teaching you, young child, how to draw through unlocking the limitless potential of your imagination. There's a fun push-pull to the energy of Pappyland. For almost half of the 30-minute runtime, we are watching a single, unbroken overhead shot of Pappy drawing or coloring in a picture. It's very peaceful, big Bob Ross energy. And Michael Coriglio, the artist/creator/guy who plays Pappy, draws with a confident, bold, cartoony style that feels sophisticated but extremely approachable to little kids. After he's finished drawing and narrating and encouraging the kids, the drawing comes to life with the power of animation, and it's just nice, alright? I enjoy it. I'm a simple man. I like traditional 2D hand-drawn animation, especially line animation. It's a good time. This particular drawing, though, is an alien that lets us know how to fuel our imaginary spaceship for our space adventure. As it turns out, the fuel source is, well, I'll let him tell you.
Super unleaded, high-octane, imagination fuel.
Where can we get that, space creature?
Inside yourself. You just close your eyes and imagine.
That's easy enough. Come on, boys and girls. Come on, everybody. Let's close our eyes and imagine ourselves on a trip to outer space.
I love the way Pappy moves. He's always bobbing and weaving. There's always gold in them thar hills. So let's do as Pappy says, close our eyes and picture ourselves on a journey to outer space. Oh wow, it's beautiful. It's so majestic. It's the Windows 95 space screensaver, isn't it? I think my imagination's broke.
Let's count down. 5, 4, 3.
Well, my ability to feel white-hot terror still exists, thankfully. The cabin lifts off and we're treated to some dad jokes and blue screen space backgrounds. We also shoehorned in some characters who weren't already in the scene and get our first look at Doodlebug. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be an antagonist, but there's certainly spunky. Doodlebug presents Pappy with a doodle challenge, an incomplete series of lines that Pappy has to resolve into a single sketch. Here, a couple of curves turn into a crescent moon man like we're trying to boost McDonald's sales, and then we launch into the entire reason I acquired this tape in the first place, a little ditty called Flying by the Moon, performed by Sing-a-Song Sam. It's an absolute fantasia of puppets, blue screen, and cheap 90s CGI. It's beautiful, and the song honks.
Flying by the moon, I can go any place, even to outer space. I can write a tune if I just close my eyes and try to visualize. Let your imagination take you anywhere you want to go.
Try getting that one out of your head today. The lyrics here are so amusingly narrow-casted. With your imagination, you can fly by the moon, yes, but with the intention to draw it, or write a song about it. It's imagination bumper bowling. I also love that this whole music video is so consistently branded. We get Pappyland logos all over this thing, and while the CGI in this is pretty bad, you have to remember that they were working with public TV money and getting people to cut them deals, favors, and special rates. Still looks better than any of the CGI in Babylon 5, though. I said what I said. Fight me, nerds. Also, a tomato with a face in space. Why is that? What am I missing in the Pappyland deep lore? That being said, it comes at the tail end of a rad synthesizer solo.
Wow!
Unfortunately, that's the end of our space voyage for this episode because the imagination fuel runs out, and it's time to balance all that CGI with 6 straight minutes of a man in his 40s coloring a doodle of an alien.
Whoops. Peppy broke a crayon, but you can use any part of the crayon to color with. So don't worry if one of your crayons break. Don't worry about it. There we go.
I love how forgiving he is on these, though. So much talk about crayons still being useful, even if they get a little broken. It just resonates, you know? On the inside, just me? Okay. We finally finish our coloring, and Pappy asks to see our drawings, which I did not do. I feel ashamed. I've let Pappy down. Anyway, he doesn't give the kids long enough to realistically show their drawings, which would be disappointing as a kid. I want Pappy to really admire my handiwork. Unfortunately, that sort of innovation in children's programming wouldn't come until the interminable pauses of Blue's Clues and Dora the Explorer. We go to the Hall of Frames, which is the world's largest CGI refrigerator gallery, and get to see a bunch of drawings from kids who would send their art to Pappy. I imagine the hope of seeing your art on Pappy's show fueled a bunch of kids who would later go on to become artists, entertainers, or attention-starved YouTube creators who sift through the nostalgia of the past for a sense of validation in their lives. The clock strikes 1:45 and it's time to go. We end on the Doodlebug providing us some new doodle ideas, and that's all for Pappyland. There's another episode on this tape, and it's not nearly as exciting, but it does have some fun highlights, including Pappy turning into a superhero named Power Pappy.
There.
Hey, this is getting exciting. You look really cool, Power Pappy.
Thanks, Pink.
Hey, who's the guy with the big red cape?
It is I, Power Pappy, defender of everything that is creative.
Us finding out that Buddy had the same king-sized bed frame and bedsheet combo that seemingly every adult in the 80s and 90s had.
Pappy? Flying? Without the color copter? Wow! Anything can happen in Pappyland.
And some kids singing a weird synthy march called Zoom 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 about the limitless powers of imagination, where they see ice cream mountains, explore outer space, and play the snare drum while floating across the screen.
Going out exploring with our minds. Zoom, 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 zoom.
I can get a little snarky and cynical on here sometimes, and it's easy to do. I watch a lot of extremely didactic kids media that pushed weird fundamentalist or regressive ideology, and it would be so easy to dismiss all of this as just rushed, inane garbage. And Pappyland is corny, yes, maybe even a bit inane, but it's also sweet, genuine, and deeply earnest in the way so much good public media is. It's gentle, patient, and laid back in a way that just would not be allowed on commercial television. There's almost no profit potential here. You could make a range of Pappyland-themed coloring books or something, but the mission is 100% pure. Get kids to love art. Get kids to realize that they can translate the fun and fantastical things they see in the limitless realm of their own imagination into tangible objects that can help them express the things they feel inside. It's not just wholesome, it's heroic. This show lasted 4 seasons and inspired hundreds of thousands of kids on PBS and TLC stations nationwide. That just makes my heart happy. It's nice to finally take a look at something that was seemingly created solely for the sake of the well-being of the next generation. But that same good intent was seemingly part of the reason why the show ended. Apparently that inability to materialize any sort of merchandising deal, no art supplies, Pappy coloring books, Doodlebug plushies, or anything like that, kept the whole operation from being financially solvent, and the show never became profitable enough to continue. In 2019, Michael Coriglio would go on to create a YouTube channel reviving the character for short-form fun, as well as posting old Pappyland episodes that are much higher quality than any of the VHS rips that I could create, but it seems like he hasn't posted anything lately and it's all a bit scattershot. That being said, it's nice to see that Coriglio understands and appreciates the impact he had on a generation of PBS kids. Warms the heart. So try to imagine, if you will, the best thing ever. No, not beef stew. Instead, a robust, publicly funded, non-profit platform designed to educate, inform, and entertain the masses. A cross-country network of television stations that exists solely for the betterment of every person in their viewing area. Sounds pretty cool, right? Well, donate to your local PBS affiliate then, you dingus. You'll feel like you're helping. And you'll get a tote bag. And who doesn't like tote bags? Thank you all for watching Too Many Tapes. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon to get updates for when I upload videos. Did you ever get your drawing into the Hall of Fame on Pappyland? Let me know, I want to see it. If you want to help out a small YouTube creator, consider donating $1 or more to my Patreon. I spend literally every dollar on this show. My patrons help me fund a high-quality capture card, and now my tape imports look and sound better than they ever have, so I appreciate you for that. If you donate $50 or more a month, you're a cammy, and you go into my own personal Hall of Fame. I can't draw, but I have sketched your name here in a fun faux Jeff McFetridge lettering, like I'm trying to rip off the title sequence from Where the Wild Things Are. Thank you so much for your patronage. If you donate $20 or more a month, you're a trusty giant pencil because you help me explore the limitless expanse of my imagination. Even if that's just the Windows 95 space screensaver. And you get to have your name in the credits in an enormous font like NATO Kitsch. You can also be like Mippa and have your name in an enormous font too. For $10 or more a month, you're a colorful cadre of mismatched puppet friends, and your name gets to be pretty big in the credits too. And for $5 a month, you get keys to the imagination spaceship. And you also get early access to my videos. Thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you next time on Too Many Tapes.
Shut up and sit down.
Alright, let's try this again. Go into space. Imagining real hard. 3, 2, 1... And it's toasters.